Okay, where is Zerto today? Okay, Zerto is now, I would want to say, almost an industry standard. If you talk about enterprise class replication for virtual workloads, 6,000 enterprise customers. We have roughly 350 cloud service providers. Okay, people like some of you guys here, and people like Islands and Navisite, all of these guys that are actually provide disaster recovery services using Zerto either into their cloud or inside our cloud. Both use cases happen in most cases, in most of them. Plus, we have a strong partnership with HP, Microsoft, and IBM. We're powering the IBM DR cloud, and we have very good offerings for AWS and Azure also. And we're working together very closely with Microsoft in the field to kind of like promote their solutions, and they're promoting our solutions. So a very strong partnership there. So really, we're in a I'd say, from a ballgame perspective, we're anywhere from, we have a few of the Fortune 10 companies all the way down to kind of like mid-market, okay? That's where we're focused. That's our audience. That's where we grew up. We grew up in the mid-market, and we kind of like matured into the larger enterprises with the years. And very strong growth sales-wise, very strong growth employee-wise. We're roughly 700, I want to say, somewhere between 700 and 750 employees worldwide right now. Development still based in Israel, okay? That's our core, that's still staying there, so that's where our engineering is. Here you're sitting in our kind of like worldwide headquarters for like sales, marketing, product. We're all here, and we have people literally almost everywhere. All of the countries that were mentioned here, we have people there. So that's kind of like, any questions about the company before I go take you on you guys? Great. So just a very, very quick reminder of where we're coming from, okay? Very quick, I'm gonna run here, okay? If you have any questions, ask, okay? Let me actually build this whole slide. Yes. So, basically, what we are famous for, okay? We're famous for building, introducing to the market the first hypervisor-based replication solution, okay? Which means block-level replication, continuous replication, okay? So we're not snapshotting, not anything like that. And what we do is we actually deploy what we call virtual replication appliances, one per each host, which allows us to be a very scalable solution, because the load for each virtual replication appliance only is the load of that host, okay? And we have one manager for each site. Now, this is a kind of like an old VMware to VMware kind of like architecture. Today, most cases, we have much more, I would say, sophisticated architecture, where it's VMware and Azure, VMware and AWS, VMware and Hyper-V, VMware and 5 other VMwares, because we support one-to-many replication, etc. This is a very simplified view. So remember, all of the replication is happening between the VRAs themselves, okay? So there's no bottlenecks, okay? We have, the network compression, of course, bandwidth monitor, bandwidth control, quality of service, all of these things built into the product, okay? And all of it managed with a concept we call virtual protection groups, which I'll talk about in a second. One of the key things that we do, okay, is, and that's kind of like a precursor to what Mike is going to talk to you about, is we have the journal, okay? One of the key differentiators of Zerto is what we do is have a very strong aspect of what's called CDP, continuous data protection, okay? Why is that important? Because we don't only offer probably the best replication technology right now in the industry, okay? We also offer very, very strong journaling technology, which means that when you recover, you don't almost ever recover to the last point in time. You can recover to anywhere within your journal, okay? The journal have basically every few seconds, we have what we call a checkpoint, okay? Which means that when you end up to recover, when you need to recover, you can go to whatever checkpoint you want and recover from there, okay? Why is that important? Very important, and we'll talk about in a second why we believe this is really the game changer in the industry moving forward, not only in disaster recovery. Okay, in disaster recovery, we already know it's a game changer. Why moving forward, it's even stronger. We'll talk about it in a second. Okay, so that's the second thing. And the first thing not to forget is we have a very strong, let me build this one also. Here we go. And we have a very strong concept called virtual protection group, which means that when you protect a group of VMs, okay, you define this group as a virtual protection group, we will ensure right order fidelity. And any one of these checkpoints is going to be a checkpoint across these VMs, regardless of what's happening with these VMs in your production. You can vMotion them, you can vMotion, storage vMotion, there are disks. You can have different disks on different storages. You can have one on your NetApp and one on your Pure and one on your Nutanix, whatever, if you want to go that way, okay? You can have whatever you want. It doesn't matter. As long as these guys are in a single vCenter, we will monitor what's going on with them, and we will continuously replicate even while they're moved, okay? And maintain consistency even while they're moved. Why? Why is that important? Because it means that when you recover a virtual protection group, you know that application will recover, okay? Because it's fully consistent. Plus, in the word case that, you know, a cross-consistent copy here is not enough, which I think for today is most like Oracle's SQL servers, all of them, they are okay with that. Even if not, you know, you can go 5 seconds before or after and find the right point in time.
Well,
okay?
I mean, for Oracle or SQL Server, I'm going to want to periodically quiesce and correlate their snapshot, their checkpoint to yours.
If, again, there's actually, you know, you're walking into the interesting domain of today, the way our customers are actually using Zerto, okay? Yes, they still have their data guard and all of that things running for their, let's say, the DBAs, okay?
Well, the DBAs will never give up our.
Exactly.
That's a whole nother story.
But realistically, and I'm talking, I'll give an example, okay? I'll give a great example. A customer, when I was in a customer event, the customer told me, hey, I have an interesting use case I used you for. I said, okay, what? Because really, it's a one that is, we didn't build the system for that, but it's a very good example of this point. He has a huge Oracle database. And he said, it kept crashing. It just kept crashing. And didn't know why. And the thing is, it was so big that whenever it crashed, it took them a long while to get a backup copy or whatever to actually work, okay? So eventually, he used Zerto in a local replication loop, okay? And he said it gave me two things. First of all, I could recover immediately almost, okay? Because I would switch to the other copy. The second is because I had a journal, and you have what we call, you know, journal file level recovery. So you can actually go and extract a single file from the journal, okay? He said I was able to take the logs and understand where it crashed because of that. And that's on a really big multi-terabyte Oracle, okay? And I think that's a great example of really how the thinking is changed in the years, okay? Yes, the DBAs will never give up what they have, but from an infrastructure perspective, if you have real strong replication with really strong journaling, you're probably better off with this technology than any snapshot kind of like QSing-based technology. Now, it doesn't mean that you cannot, here we have an API, you can say, hey, when I'm QSing my ARM1, tell Zerto to create a checkpoint at the same time. We have that, and you know that, you know Zerto probably more than I do.
I would not go that far.
But not that far. But it's kind of like, you can integrate these, but I'm trying to put in your mind that there is actually a shift in the way actually things work out there in the field, because eventually, when someone has a technology like this, he would probably 99% of the time prefer to recover from this than from his ARM1, okay? Because that's going to actually be more granular and actually be more scalable and just like deliver faster results, okay? So with that, I want to talk about...
so it says supporting vMotion and storage vMotion and all that?
Yes.
What is the impact to protection? Is it continuous?
Continuous, you don't even know about it.
Okay.
That's the key. What we're doing is because we're controlling the whole kind of like, we're copying every block, and we have communication between the different VRAs, which are not shown here, okay, they talk to each other and say, hey, I picked up where you left, basically, okay. Kind of like thing, okay? And in the target side, we kind of reconcile all of the inputs and say, okay, this one was before this one, etc., and then we kind of like put them to rest with what we call the checkpoint.
Okay, so no impact for snapshots as well?
No.
Just, okay, cool.
The only impact is actually if you, and we have actually that feature is an interesting feature. If you revert from a snapshot, we need to know about it because we need to resync the disk, but that's the only impact. We don't care if you're snapshotting whatever other than that.
A quick question. What's the lowest RPO that you support?
So it depends where you are. We have people going under 1 second. Okay, if you're local, like for that case we just discussed, if you're doing local replication very high, it's physics. Okay, X amount of data change needs to go from point A to point B. Okay, the faster you can get that, the faster you will deliver.
So in your UI, what's the lowest parameter that you can set?
What do you mean? Oh,
Your
in
user
UI.
interface. What can you configure?
We don't config the actual RPO. We configure your RPO target, okay, which actually serves us mostly to give you alerts and things like that.
Right.
But the system as a system always tries to minimize the RPO. So if it will be able to do 0 RPO, it will give you 0 RPO, okay? It's not really 0, it's never 0, but it can be very close to 0.
So what's the lowest RPO target that you can configure?
You remember?
The lowest RPO is 1 minute, but even customers with 1 minute RPO can easily have 5 second, 4 second.
Yeah.
That's quite common. Like,
Okay.
Vast majority of the case are going to be something like that.
Understood. And with the enterprise applications that you have there, do you have an integration into via an agent to do an application consistent replication?
No, so we don't. Okay, we have what I said. We have that API which enables you, if you want, if you're scripting your Armon, you can script, hey, name this checkpoint my Armon kind of like a QSing point or whatever, because just like for more, I would say, backward or consistency in terms of like.
So I'm a customer that's got a mission critical Oracle database. So what work do I need to do on my side to make sure that I'm replicating an a database consistent snapshot?
So that was the
end?
discussion. We right now do not believe in database consistent snapshots anymore. Okay, we believe these are, you need, actually, funny enough, the database needs this mostly, and what you see backup applications do today is they tell the database, hey, go and flush your logs and stuff like that. So that needs to happen, but that's kind of like that's backwards kind of like thinking, okay?
Flush the log just to get the I/O somewhere
Exactly.
where you can see it.
Exactly. So what really we see in the market is like when people, actually, customers of ours, and we have customers really, Oracle and SAP, and these guys are probably, most of our customers are using or either a big Oracle or a big SQL server or things like that, okay? So they just don't care about the database QSing anymore, okay? The DBAs care. Howard is right on. That's never going to go away. But from an infrastructure perspective.
And the database engines have gotten a lot better at dealing with a crash consistent state.
Exactly. And I think that's the key.
I remember it used to be, well, the database came up crash consistent, it's going to do a consistency check, you can't use it for 2 hours. That doesn't happen anymore.
And I think that's the key, okay? The database, we enable you because we have checkpoints every few seconds, even for the case that maybe that few seconds didn't work, you can go 20 seconds before and you will have a crash consistent copy that works.
Understood. So what you're saying is that the technologies, the applications, and the databases are more crash consistent.
Yes.
So it doesn't matter. Got it.
And you rather, and I would love to get Howard as the DBA of the room here to agree to that.
Don't insult me like that, Gil.
To agree to what I'm saying now, you rather have less data loss and handle a little bit more of crash consistency issues than have more data loss and go back to your latest snapshot. Okay, because if your latest snapshot is from an hour ago or from 30 minutes ago, and I can get you 5 seconds before you had the problem, you rather have that and figure out, okay, it'll take me 5 minutes more to figure out which one is the right one, but I didn't lose any data.
Thinking like an DBA, which makes my brain hurt. What I'd really like to do is recover from the crash consistent snapshot and then grab the logs from you and roll them forward. Because that way I get
that's also an option.
Yeah.
Anyway, because of time, I want to move on, guys, because we have so much things to talk about the future, and we're going to go back to this because this point of moving to continuous base protection is the key to what Mike is going to talk about. So we're going to go back here, okay?
Besides the VRA, do you require agents in the applications like Oracle or anything like that?
No.
So you're using standard hypervisor services APIs?
Yeah, we don't know that there's an Oracle there. We don't know, and as we said,
You
we
mostly don't care.
Yeah, we mostly don't care. I didn't want to say that this way, but we actually don't care. Okay? Thank you, Howard.
Really quick, are there any kind of VMs that you can't protect, like maybe fault tolerance or VMs that have RDMs?
In-memory
so-
databases.
So actually, we do support both physical RDMs and virtual RDMs. Okay, we support both, and some of the customers there can tell you how they're using it, if you are using it, I don't know.
I actually had a question written down about that. What about support for vvols? Is that something, or are you just sticking with the block-based?
vvols will, we're kind of like still on the fence there on the industry because I think vvols is from a big hype. Not sure how much implementation is happening there. But, we just joined the VMware VIO program, okay, and that will get us into vvols if we decide to kind of like, we're still in a figuring out phase of what does it mean, how their APIs work differently than what we're using today. Things like that will take some time, but that will, if we'll decide that vvols is important from a customer perspective, our customers will tell us it's important, we will probably pursue it through that direction.
Okay, but a VM running an iSCSI initiator in the guest is still a problem, right?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
It goes on network, it doesn't go first.
Oh, yeah, in the guest, yes.
Yeah.
In the guest, I didn't get, yes.
Yeah.
Agreed.
If you're stupid enough to do that, you have protection
Exactly.
problems. So,
Okay, I want to move on because I want to now set the stage to where Mike is going to talk. Mike is going to go techie on what I'm talking about at a high level right now, okay? This is what Steve was talking about. 2011, first time he showed up here, we really introduced a new concept to the market, which was hypervisor-based replication, okay? Since then, we did a lot of new things, okay? We, in 2013, were the first that actually created a very strong multi-tenant solution for cloud providers, which is why basically all of them are using us, and I'll show you a slide about that in a second. Then we went to and from public cloud. We have solutions to and from AWS and Azure, okay? I'll already say Azure is much stronger solution right now because the API they provide us are much stronger APIs, okay? Then we went multi-cloud. We also have a solution between Azure and AWS, and of course between any of these two to any VMware-based cloud, okay? So like IBM Cloud and things like that. And really what we're kind of like announced in our ZertoCon conference, which happened in May, is what we call the IT Resilience Platform, okay? What do we mean by that, okay? The way we see it, there used to be 3 different solutions that people use, okay? They had their DR solution, they had their backup solution, and they had what we call hybrid cloud, which is kind of like, cloud migration solutions, think of your double takes or think of your Cloud Endure and these guys that specialize in kind of like momentary movement of things between place A and B. And they're kind of like, hybrid cloud is more of a marketing name for that market. But specifically, this market, distinctive, big market, this market, distinctive, big market. Here you have the recovery points, the snap mirrors, these guys. Here you have the Veritas, the Commvault, the Rubrik, all of these guys, okay? The way we see this is that this is now becoming really a single market. Any website you would go to today in these guys, Veritas, Rubrik, Commvault, Veeam, any one of these guys, they will present themselves as doing all of this, okay? It's becoming from, let's call it an industry perspective, one kind of like one solution. Now we believe this is right, this is the right direction, we agree, okay? But we also think it needs to be done in the right way, okay? And there's 2 aspects to this, okay? First of all, from a market perspective, we see this as a single platform, and that's what the market is looking for. Not a collection of platforms, not a, hey, I'm going to have, what his boss, our VP product, call it a bag of doorknobs, okay? It's not that. You need a single platform where you can report and you can work and you can manage really all of this in one way and not multiple ways, okay? Now, if you think of, let's assume for a second that everybody agrees here that this needs to be a single platform, because if you read everybody's websites, they agree that it needs to be a single solution because, again, Nobody in the industry is not selling a DR and backup together today. Everybody is selling everything, okay? But
Well, some people are selling DR and calling it backup, and some people are selling backup and calling it DR.
exactly. But where we think we have the upper hand is in the following, okay? And that's a key thing, okay? People coming from backup are coming from basically a concept of periodic protection, okay? Which means that once every while I'm doing something, okay? They can claim 15 minutes, they can claim an hour, it doesn't matter. We know for real high scalable systems, when we're talking about real production workloads in real enterprises, it's never going to be more than, faster than every, let's say, 30 minutes, an hour in the best case, and in many cases it's going to be every 6 hours, okay? They coming from that DNA, okay? We are coming from the continuous DNA, okay? We're saying, hey, continuous journal-based protection is where we see today our customers already saying, you know what, when I have a backup call, when I have a backup situation, I'm actually using Zerto to recover, even if I have my backups. Why? Because if I was just hit by ransomware, I want to be able to go back 10 seconds before that stupid user clicked that stupid link on the email, and not 3 hours before that to my daily backup or weekly backup or wherever, okay? The granularity is king. Why? Because of user expectations. Okay, we're in a digital world now. There's zero tolerance to data loss. Zero tolerance, okay? None of you guys would tolerate Google Drive from losing any one of your pictures, okay? Any one of your family photos, okay?
My wife wouldn't.
What?
My wife wouldn't. That's a headache you don't want.
Exactly. You don't want that. And we got used to that. So now your users in the hospital is expecting the same thing, and your users inside the organization is expecting the same thing. That's why our belief is, because we have realistically the most scalable and the most continuous solution out there in the market, plus ask any one of our users, it's the simplest solution in the market, okay? We pride ourselves by taking complex, behind the scenes kind of like moving parts and make them simple for the user and make them simple to manage, okay? We believe we have the best shot in kind of like creating this platform, this single platform, okay?
I got one problem with that.
Okay.
And it's not actually about what you've been talking about. It's about the fact that 90% of the corporate world uses their backup as a phony baloney archive for long retention.
I agree.
Which isn't a great fit for your architecture.
I agree, which is why Mike is going to talk to you about this. 100% agree.
As soon as I can get on stage, Gil.
How much?
Actually, I'm going to skip some slides here. I just
Great question. Keep that in mind.
About, we really are work in a multi-cloud world. That's what we do. We support everybody and anybody, okay? And we really enable this kind of like hybrid cloud solution for enterprise applications, not for like, your 2 VMs that you're running in your flower shop. Talking about big Oracle databases and everything, okay? And
Sorry, I don't see GCP up there. Is that
which one?
Google Cloud
Google
Platform.
Cloud?
You don't notice it.
Yeah, I don't see it.
Do you notice it in your customers?
No, I'm just. You say you support everyone, but
it's one of these things that is on the roadmap and keeps getting bumped out there because customers yet to tell us that they need it. Okay, you always have lots of things we want to do. We do things when our customers are telling us, "Hey, we need this." Okay, that's kind of like how we started this company, and that's how we continue to do this. We work for our customers. We prioritize with our customers. And right now, it's not a priority, okay? Whenever, trust me, Google comes to us every few months and says, hey, guys, let's do it. Sorry, guys, nobody is asking for it yet. So it's going to be there eventually, okay? It's like not there yet.
all right, cool.
But there's no limitations, no issues. They have very similar kind of like APIs to these guys. So we know we can do it, we just never didn't do it yet.
Okay.
And just like this is kind of like what I promised you. If you look at both of the Magic Quadrant for DR as a service providers and the Forrester Wave, you see that we are the arm dealers to basically 100% of them, because the ones here that are not are people like Unitrends and Datto that have their own solutions. Okay, so really almost 100% of that industry is using Zerto. Going back to the how we kind of like really work with everybody in the cloud.